Battle for the bowl. Iowa takes on the Badgers of Wisconsin this weekend inside Kinnick Stadium. Badger team that has given us a lot of stress this past decade, a lot of losses to them. Let's try to turn it around this weekend. Big matchup as the Heartland Trophy is on the line. We will preview and predict that. Also, we'll look back at the win last weekend in West Lafayette as Iowa finally beat Purdue 24-3. Solid road win. Are we starting to find some life? We have our thoughts there. Second week of the college football playoff rankings came out on Tuesday. We'll react to that. And last, we'll talk about some Iowa basketball as they got the season underway a few nights ago. Good first win. But we have a pretty tough stretch, as you guys may know, here coming up soon. I know Friday we have a pretty easy game, and then after that, it gets sort of tough. So we'll look at that as well. All that coming up here on Hawk Talk on Melrose. Once again, thank you guys all for supporting and listening to our episodes. If you haven't already, please check us out on YouTube. Watch us there. Subscribe while you're there. If not, you can find us on your favorite platform. We just ask one simple task to please subscribe and leave a review, good or bad. So, got that all out of the way in less than a minute. Tyler, have you packed your long johns for this Saturday?
No, I'm wearing flip flops and a tank top, cut off. No,
You're
yeah,
you're gonna freeze
it's
your
gonna be
ass off.
it's gonna be cold. But honestly, we were just kind of talking about it, kind of before we hopped on here, and like you couldn't really ask for shit. Middle of November, it's gonna be what 33 degrees supposedly.
Yeah, like
Um,
34 or something like
30
that.
34 degrees, and it's been nice now. Like there's no complaining out of me. Um, this is my officially my last home game of the year. I won't be going to obviously the Nebraska game to end the year. So no complaining out of me. It felt like forever since I've been to an Iowa game. Obviously, me and you didn't go to the Northwestern game, and so it's been a few weeks. And man, I'm excited to get back. I can tell you what, the weather's not gonna deter me from a 2:30 kickoff against Wisconsin. So I'm pumped. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm one of the weird people. I actually rather take I'd rather be cold than hot and sticky and muggy. Like I would take what the temperature is going to be like on Saturday versus like the first game of the season when it's always just super hot and you almost
Yeah.
sit there and you can't even, because I mean most people can, I just do not fare well with the heat for some reason. I get overheated really fast. So I actually would pick a game where it's 35 degrees, because at the end of the day, just add on layers.
That's
And if you're
true.
smart about it, I mean, I went on Amazon a couple days ago. I bought a new pair of long johns. I got some new thermal socks, some thermal gloves. I'm ready to go, and I should be just fine. And if I get cold, well, I can put on some more layers. Get hot, you can't really do anything about it. So, yeah, I'm ready to go. And like you said, haven't been to Kinnick since, God, what was it? October 1st, I think, was the last game, Michigan game, since me and you have gone. So it's been over a month, and I'm
Yeah.
ready to be back. I'm ready to and it should be a good game. I mean, the last 2 weeks, obviously, we finally started kind of hitting our stride against Northwestern, against Purdue. And so this is a big time matchup. Um, with Illinois losing, there's still some hope. It's really far fetched, kind of, but we still have some hope. But regardless, still a big game, trophy game. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, a lot on the line, and a team that really has beat us a lot in the last decade. And we'll look at that a little bit later. But yeah, let's first talk a little Purdue. Man, what
Yeah.
that was unexpected to say the least. I thought it'd probably be a close game, but I never thought what I saw on Saturday.
No, no, I couldn't have predicted us winning what 24-3. I mean, us getting out to a nice, what was it, 14-0 lead to kind of start the
17,
game.
17
Seven, was
0.
it 17? Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. Yeah, you with this team, you don't predict that right now. And it does seem like Iowa, the offense specifically, is finding its stride here in the last couple of weeks. It seems like we have built off of what we did well in the Northwestern game and kind of continued that through to the Purdue game. And I do think that the weather, we talked about that a little bit. I think the weather down in West Lafayette helped us and to our advantage, maybe a little bit too. Rainy, cold, windy. I think that only plays to Iowa's advantage. Not saying that that was the reason Purdue lost. I mean, Aiden O'Connell just had a really bad game. Our defense was, per usual, insane. And finally, the offense, specifically the passing game in the first half, was the difference, I think, because man, Petrus looked really, really good in the first half and got us those 2 quick touchdowns. And we were texting during the game, we're like, who is this team these last 2 weeks? Like, where has this team been? Why? It's like they've been MIA for how many weeks, and they finally are starting to show up and give some help and life to our defense. And man, you look at what our defense does when they get a lead, right? That when we get to finally play with a lead, it's almost game over. So, man, there was obviously a butt kicking last week, and you just couldn't ask for a better performance.
I want to, yeah, before I have my thoughts on the offense. I mean, let's start the defense because I feel like we tend to forget. We don't really talk much about the defense just because it's expected, I feel like, and we're just good. And it's just, I mean, what more to say? But man, like this Purdue team going into this game, like I wouldn't say it's a high powered offense, but like their offense has been pretty good this year. You go watch some of their games and like the first game, for example, the Penn State game. I mean, they put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
So this is a good offense. And look at third down efficiency, 216, which is just crazy. I mean, they had more first downs than us, but 2 for 16, third down efficiency. Total yards, 255. That's well under their weekly average, which I think their weekly average is close to 400. Yards per pass, 3.9. That's really, really good. Considering the fact that Purdue likes to air it out a lot. Kept them under 100 yards rushing, no surprise there. And then, yeah, we forced 2 turnovers. So, man, I mean, defense it's the real deal. And it's crazy to me because I keep thinking to myself, for how good our defense is, and we are without Terry Roberts, we're without Jamari Harris, we're without Justin Jacobs. Like, it's just crazy to me that, like, we're still able to just compete at a very high level. And it gets me excited for, like, next year because a lot of these guys are going to be returning along with hopefully Justin Jacobs. I don't see him. I mean, he's not going to go to the NFL, but unless he transfers, but I don't think he will. And then, but you got guys like Jay Higgins who's stepping up. I mean, he's going to be back next year. I know we're going to lose, Jack Campbell, but man, like it gets me excited for next year because a lot of these guys will be back. But yeah, switching the offense then, second game in a row where we have finally we're finally able to do what our identity is, and that's run the football, get the run game going, set up the play action pass. These last 2 games, we have been able to do that with the help of obviously Caleb Johnson, who is a stud, and with our offensive line finally starting to play a little bit better. But I mean, if we're getting 5.3 yards per rush, yeah, we're gonna win. I mean, it's as simple as that with our defense, and if we're getting 5.3 yards per rush, that's the only thing you really need to look at. And then, like you mentioned, not only did the running game get going, but the passing game did. And yeah, it's no surprise. If the run game is going to get going, if we're going to average 5.3 yards per rush, it's going to set up the passing game. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened in the first half. We were, it was definitely an offense that was well balanced in the first half. We did a lot of running. We did a lot of passing. It was, well in between. We weren't, 80-20 one way or the other. So that was really good to see. Second half, I still have this problem with Ferentz. I have some problems with Ferentz, and one of the problems is he goes way too vanilla sometimes when we're up. And in the second half, some of these numbers are kind of skewed because of the second half, and it's because we didn't really do anything. So to have, 192 yards passing, that's pretty damn good considering the fact that we barely passed in the second half. First downs. We only had 15. Well, in the second half, all we really did was run the football. And yeah, we were getting a lot of 3 and outs and different things like that. So it was better than what these stats are kind of indicating our offense because of the first half and getting, like guys like Nico involved and not just looking at Laporta, which is fine. I mean, that's totally fine, but it's like you got to get the receivers more involved. And I don't know if Devontae Vines had a catch or not, but once again, Petrus was looking his way. We were talking about that last Wednesday about how it almost feels like Petrus is comfortable throwing to Vines. There's like some chemistry there. And I'm actually going to see if Devontae Vines had any catches. I don't think he did.
And then really quick on too, like you mentioned Laporta. it does seem like he looks his way a lot, but he actually got his first touchdown of the year
Yep, he
last
did.
game. So, I mean, really, just in general, in passing to our receivers, tight ends, running backs, this whole year has been pretty much a joke up until the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And so now it's really good to see some of these guys getting rewarded um, by Spencer's play. So
Yep, for sure. And going back to Iowa rushing Caleb Johnson, we all he's a stud for us. It's clear he's the number one.
yeah,
I think we could go back to like the Nevada game, and me and you were talking like he needs
yeah.
to be RB
Well,
one.
and these stats right here kind of show that, right? 22 attempts, and the next guy had what from the running back position 4. So
Yeah,
it,
and
it
that's great.
definitely, yeah,
That's crazy to me that Patterson was playing more. He was kind of the second option, so I don't know
yeah,
if there's something there, if maybe LaShawn's hurt, sort of, but yeah,
right,
LaShawn barely played.
yep,
And so that's something to watch. I think we were hoping for this. Me and you have been done with Gavin for a while. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
wish him the best, but it's not working. And we have
No,
said I mean, probably since September, like, okay, he needs to stop playing. And finally, as you can see here, he had no carries and he didn't really play much at all. He's always at that third down back, and even that, it's like, no, have LaShawn or Caleb. I think you texted me at one point. We did like a receiver screen to LaShawn Williams, and you're like, why are we like Caleb
2 of
just
them.
yeah, and that kind of annoys me as well. It's like,
Yeah,
come on. I mean, Caleb's our best option. Keep him in there for running back screens.
get him the ball, right? Like you
Yeah.
see what he does with the ball in his hands, right? Like he's a touchdown waiting to happen at any moment because he's kind of like, very one of the very few sort of game breakers on offense that can take it to the house at any moment. And it's weird the way he runs. It's so like silky smooth. It doesn't seem like he's like running that fast, but then on
No,
that
it
one long
doesn't.
touchdown, like they just couldn't even catch him. It's just so
Yeah.
effortless, I think. So dude, he's so good. He's such a stud, and I'm so glad that he's here for another three years. So after
Well, let's
this,
hope. Let's hope he
hope,
stays.
yeah,
Obviously, with I
yeah,
mean, with NIL, and all that, you just never know some of these players.
right.
I mean, even players that are, yeah, like Caleb, who is our starting running back and will be, you just
I
never
was gonna
know.
say
He
I
could
would
get,
hope that because he knows he's the starter, but yeah, no, part of that is the offense, right?
yeah.
You gotta have an interesting offense to keep these guys around. So I'm hoping, yeah, hoping that we're finding
I
a little
just,
bit of our stride here and can
yep.
go
I
into
hope,
next season with
I hope
some confidence.
for the rest of the year, which we only have, well, we have hopefully 4 more games, to
Yeah,
include the bowl game, that we have found the foundation of, what our offense, and that's, yeah, it's centered around Caleb Johnson, who's our best offensive player. And then once you get that, then you can kind of build around him with Laporta. I will say the offensive line has looked a lot better, which is really good to see. I
yeah,
think we finally established who our front fiver is. We were doing so much interchanging those first like 6 weeks, and I think that was
yeah,
just not a good thing. And we finally figured out our five, and they're looking a lot better. And against Northwestern, we were sitting here last week saying it's just Northwestern, but it was one of those things where it's like, well, we need to do this. I mean, if we looked like crap against Northwestern, it looked really bad, and we did exactly what we needed to do. We took care of business against a really bad team, and then we followed up with another really good performance on the road. Now, if we can build that for this next week, because this is going to be the most challenging week out of these last 3 weeks, because Wisconsin's defense is the best defense that we'll face since Ohio State. And so if we can
yeah,
build on what we've done the last 2 weeks and look somewhat decent again, then I'm going to feel pretty good as we kind of finish the rest of the season. But if we go back to our normal ways, then yeah, I think it's safe to say, that was just a 2 week wonder, which I'm hoping that's not the case.
yeah. Same. Yeah. Hopefully this is something that we've kind of found as our new offense, like, right? I mean, like, hopefully this is what can continue. And I mean, a lot of it is the offensive line, like you said, is playing better. I think Spencer has a lot more confidence too.
Yeah.
Just kind of, I mean, you hear him in the press conference, and I don't know if you heard that one comment about how like he was just kind of being like, haha, see, I
Oh,
told you
about people.
guys type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yep. I
Well,
did see that.
I don't know if I agree with that, but whatever. I just think he has more confidence. I mean, that's honestly what it comes down to. And I mean, he's going to have all the confidence in the world for this game. Like you said, it's biggest challenge coming up here against Wisconsin. Really good defense. I know they're not playing great, but they've won their last couple of games just like Iowa. And, it makes for a great matchup.
Yeah.
Blackout and, all black uniforms. I mean, well, I know we're going to talk about it, but
I,
I'm super pumped. And yeah, I don't know.
I think it helps Petrus when once again the offensive line is actually protecting him for the most part, and the run game gets going. I mean that stuff it just makes life so much
Oh,
easier.
Caleb Johnson is it's so weird because everything's so connected, but like, yeah, you can run the ball. Everything else will open up
Yeah,
after it.
when you're getting
That's just really
5.3
what it
yards
is.
per
That's
rush.
Iowa's identity this whole era under Kirk, right? It's like run the ball, establish the run, and play action and pass off of that
Yep.
really strong run game that you have. So
Which
hopefully,
one
yeah.
thing I will say that, and this is a negative comment. We haven't haven't had much negative today, but I will say this: the one thing that kind of annoys me out, you've definitely have noticed this too. Sometimes when we do play action passes, we get like Petrus will get just lit up right away, and it's because someone misses their block, and
Yeah.
it's just so annoying because it's like I really feel like if it was Logan Jones, it happened twice on Saturday where Logan Jones completely whipped on a block and literally Peters would fake the handoff and immediately get blown up. And it annoys me because I feel like those plays, if that doesn't happen, we probably get a completion because once again, when we're running the football so well, there's going to be some guys open on a play action pass. But when you're getting lit up like that, it's like, it's really annoying because it sets you back like 7 yards or 10
Right.
yards. We gotta fix that. I mean, you gotta be able to pass block and play action pass. And both times it was two times I can remember it was Logan Jones completely whiffing. And he's getting better, but he's still just not quite there yet at center. And hopefully he can get better. But yeah, it's just so annoying because it's like, I don't know.
Well, like you said, it's not even that it's like some like long developing play action. It's he fakes the handoff and is literally doesn't even turn around. Yeah, he doesn't even have time to turn around to look like to throw the ball. He's just getting gobbled up. So I
it
know
happens at
there's weird
least
miscommunications, like at least a couple times a game.
Yeah,
It seems like.
it's just so annoying because I
And
don't.
like you said, it with our offense starting to be better and more productive, those are the plays that again you just can't have like from this offense. Like you can't have those negative plays because more times than not, it's a drive killer, right?
Yep. More times than not, if it's 2nd and 15, you might as well just call the punt team out. So
yeah, I mean, and then in our like I said, yeah, we're not going to sit up here and say I think me and you both can agree our offense. Not like we're saying that you know we can overcome these negative plays and penalties, and yet no, we still really can't. We're playing better. We might be able to overcome one or two, but no, we have to give ourselves every opportunity to continue to put a good drive together. And also, one thing that just kind of made me think of, didn't we have a 90-some-yard drive?
Yeah, we did.
Purdue?
That was like our first. It was, or it was. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I think it was 90.
Talk about a Christmas miracle. I
Yeah.
mean, my God, I never thought I'd see the day.
I think that was the first, actually, the first scoring drive too. Felt good to go right down the field.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is like your biggest confidence boost that you're going to need. I mean, from an offense, just as like your number one thing. Like now you can do it, right? Before you're pretty much saying to yourself, like, we're done.
Well, and that's why I
Inside the
wish
5,
like
great.
the first half was such a good confidence boost, and the second half it just felt like, and it was because we were just so vanilla. That's why it's like, why couldn't we just kept the foot on the pedal? Because the second half we could have really,
Yeah, it was more just get out with a win type of mentality.
Yeah,
And I hate it too. I hate that mentality because that's not a winning mentality. That's a we won the first half mentality, and now let's just escape with a win. And it's like, listen, this offense, it needs all the confidence and help that it can get. So let's continue what we're trying to do. And even in the announcers, I remember they were saying too, they're like they want to come out and see that, and obviously we all do, but it just didn't happen that way.
Yeah, I think it was like the Rutgers game where I think the same situation happened. We looked decent in the first half, and then the second half we just totally just went so vanilla, and it's like, come on.
I know it almost just makes for like a boring game to
It
watch,
does.
unfortunately.
It almost makes it feel like you just want the game to be close, so we don't do that.
Yeah, no shit.
So, but yeah, let's get into the Wisconsin game here. I'm going to share my screen quick. Just going to show the last decade. I didn't
Yeah.
realize, obviously I was really young at this moment, but I didn't realize, from like 2002 to 2009, we had a stretch there where we won a lot against them. Won 6 times, 6 out of 8 times. And then 2010, it almost felt like this is the game that we got cursed. Cause I don't know if you remember this game, but this is the game where we were up and they did that fake punt. And
Yeah.
it's like ever since that, it has just gone downhill. We have won only
Wasn't
2
that
times.
the game that I was at?
I think you came to that game. Yeah, because
Scott Tolzien, I think, was the quarterback. I think he was the quarterback, dude.
Those first couple years that you came with me, I think we lost a lot. Remember that? Remember you were kind of you were.
I remember it was close, and I remember that fake punt. I remember the fake punt.
Something broke where you started because I remember you came to like the Western Michigan game. We lost that game.
Dude, people were leaving the stadium that we thought we were going to win, and they ended up coming back. Oh, dude, I was a bad luck charm there.
Yeah, it wasn't Western Michigan. Was it Eastern Michigan? It was one of
something.
Those we lost. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we lost that.
But
yeah, going back to this, so we won in 2015 and 2020. But as you can see here, though, I mean, the scores for the most part have been pretty close. I know last year, like for example, we lost 27-7, but that's recent memory, and I know that game was a lot closer than that score was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have definitely had our number. I would say that from all these years, this Wisconsin's team is not up there to being the best. So that's good news for us, but you can make the case for us as well. But I really think going into this game though, that our defense, the way it's playing, we should be able to hold Wisconsin's offense. Yeah. Not saying that they're not going to score. I mean, they're probably going to score. But with the Kinnick's atmosphere and the way our defense has been playing, I don't see how Wisconsin's going to put up that many points. We'll start with that. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the proof is there, right? And that's the thing, if our offense can just be very average, right? Like it has been the last 2 weeks, and look at the score differential. It's crazy. We're dominating these games, and we're not even putting up that many points ourselves on offense. And it's just like you said, our defense it doesn't even allow much more than a field goal or maybe 10 points. Like I feel really good if I know our offense is going to be average. That's the question. Can our offense be average?
Yeah, I just don't trust.
Is Wisconsin's defense playing really good? I guess that's my question.
They are. I want to say they're not. Like I'll look that up actually while we're talking here. But I was just gonna say with like Graham Mertz, like, and watch me,
Yeah, well, that's what
I don't really like. He doesn't really scare me all that much. No. The one thing I will say though is, I don't know if you've noticed this, like with how good our defense has been, there's some holes in it where like the run defense can sometimes be not very good. I don't know if you've noticed that. We end up figuring it out, but there's times where we let like a guy easily get 10 yards. It's like, what are we doing? And I know that happens. It's football, but like it happens sometimes more than what should be expected considering how good our defense is. So that's the only thing that kind of scares me, because Wisconsin always has a good offensive line and they always have obviously really good running backs. So that's the only thing that kind of scares me. But like in terms of like passing game, I don't. I mean, going back to the Michigan game, yeah, like I'm nervous of JJ McCarthy. I'm nervous of their receivers. But like Wisconsin, like I don't know.
But and maybe I'm just totally making this up in my head. But I remember, didn't we say something about this like last year? And didn't Wisconsin actually come out on that first drive and like actually complete the ball? Like they had like 50 some yards on that first drive or something.
I do. I think that did happen. But what team doesn't that first like drive?
No,
like, not.
Well, that's our curse right there. I swear, it's like our defense is like, oh, we should probably show up now. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the key, right? I think for both teams, really, is can you stop the run and force your quarterback to win you the game? I think is probably the game plan on both sides, really.
If Kinnick is rocking, which I assume it will be, I would assume that they're gonna have like Mertz will have at least an intercept or like a couple turnovers, which will be big for us because it might come down to that. Going back to what their defense, they're definitely not as good. Remember last year they were like tied up
Yeah,
there with like Georgia.
Yeah.
So they're still good, but they're definitely not as good. They're in total defense, they're actually ranked 23rd in the country. And then
Okay.
scoring defense, let's see here. Scoring defense, they are 24th. So they're definitely not
Okay.
up
So
there,
they're not the upper echelon of great that historically great defense that maybe we're accustomed to seeing from Wisconsin.
Yep. Like the way I look at it is we have already faced Iowa State, who's 9th, Ohio State, who's 8th, Illinois, who's 1, Michigan,
Yeah.
who's 3. So it's like, okay, let's put something together.
Right.
If and
Correct.
try to figure something out. But because 24th is still really good, but it's not as good as some of these other teams that we have faced. So I really think if we can get to, and this sounds so like bad, but if we get like 13 points, I think we win this game possibly.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know how Wisconsin, unless our defense just looks like complete shit all of a sudden on Saturday.
No, yeah.
I
All
don't know how
things
they
being what we know from this team, this defense, I agree with you. I think if you tell me we can get to, well, I think 17, we'd be in the clear. Really, I really do. But you want me to give it a pick?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I almost want to pick Iowa to lose because I've been so I've almost jinxed them, right? The last couple of weeks, it seems like, and against Northwestern, I picked a close game, a close win, and they ended up, dominating. I picked a loss against Purdue, and they ended up dominating. I don't want to pick I want to pick a loss right now. Ahead of the season, I did pick Iowa to lose this game. But because it's at home, because Wisconsin is not the team that we maybe thought they were going to be, along with Iowa, along with the fact it's a blackout 2:30 game, I'm going to give Iowa the edge in this game. I'm going to say it's 17-13. Low scoring affair, close. But Iowa gets it done. And I think the home crowd will be a huge advantage. I think everyone in that stadium is going to be so pumped for this game because, dude, now we have something to cheer for. It's what it seems like, right, for this offense, and I think that's going to pay dividends for this weekend for sure.
Yeah, you definitely have something like for me, like I'm looking forward to like hopefully another good performance like Caleb Johnson. That's all. Isn't that weird how all it takes is like just one guy to be like really good for you, and like you're excited to watch that one guy. Also, quick note, I think we are now 2-0, I think 2019, 2021, where we're wearing the black pants. So hopefully we can make it 3-0. Because we are wearing the black pants kind of officially announced. So I love it. I mean, I obviously at some point want us to wear like legit alternate uniforms, but like at least we're getting something because
with the red, white, and blue Tiger Hawk.
I mean, in the black pants, it's just something different. And I mean, I'd prefer like a legit, change for alternates like that 1 year against Ohio State. But I'll take these black. I mean, I think they look good. I honestly wish we wore them more than just one time a year.
I know. I wish it was a part of our normal.
Yeah, I wish we wore them
rotation.
like 3 times, and then hell, even maybe a away game wearing black pants.
Yeah,
black helmets, black pants.
That would look.
I don't know why that would look pretty good, but whatever. I'm gonna go. God dang, this is tough because like lately I've been. If you go back and list, besides Ohio State game, but I sometimes give the away or the opposing team too many points. And so because I just expect, a touchdown here, a couple field, or whatever, 2 touchdowns. I'm going to give like Wisconsin 10 points. I'm going to say they score like one time and then kick a field goal. I'm going to go 20-10 Iowa. Nice. I don't even know what the spread is. I think it's us. Like we're favored by 2. I would say if I was going to bet this game, I'd probably bet the under again. I just don't, I think
the under's the play, I think, every week at this point.
Yeah. Well, I guess last week we even got under. But I don't know. I just hope
1.5 right now.
1.5. Okay.
Looks like Iowa 1.5 point favorite at home. So
God, I wish it was like Wisconsin plus 3.5 or Wisconsin minus 3.5. I would take Iowa plus.
I know.
Any day of the week. Give me a field goal at home. I just hope we can continue we can
The
build
key,
that
the keys,
momentum from the 2 games.
the key is going to be stopping Braylon Allen, right? I
Yep.
mean, he's a stud. He's one of the better running backs in the Big Ten. They're gonna feed him, right? I mean, that's pretty much. I don't see why they wouldn't. So it starts and ends there. Defense is, like you said, got to be ready for the run game. And then yeah, be ready for when the play action comes, because that's what their offense is. You look at kind of a mirroring image of kind of two styles of offense. Again, it's Wisconsin, Iowa is pretty similar in what we do. So
Yeah.
I don't think that really. I think that bodes well for us, right? We see that every day, and so we're used to kind of this style of offense. I just, like you said, got to stop. We got to stop Braylon Allen. That's going to
Yeah.
be the key.
And just like us, Wisconsin is riding some momentum right now. I mean, you look at their last few games, they killed Purdue just like us. They beat Maryland pretty easily, which I don't know, did Tua's brother, I always forget his name. Did he play? Should look and see if he played.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look
Real
quick because
quick, real
I
quick. How about Purdue? Once
yeah, they've
again, Purdue shitting the bed when it matters most.
it's
I think
honestly
I
kind of like
I think I had
Minnesota
them winning the
too.
West, and it was looking good. And then yeah, kind of like Minnesota. I mean, doing the same thing. They back to revisionist history. I mean, back a couple years ago, they were doing the same thing where they played really well at the beginning and then just came apart.
Yeah.
But then
So
again, are playing a little bit better now. So like, it's very up and down.
um Wisconsin or Graham Mertz versus Maryland, which Maryland, they are a much improved team. Obviously, their defense is decent, but it's definitely not up there. Graham Mertz went 5 for 18 for 77 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions at a QBR 15.5. So
I'm
if we
loving
can't
that.
stop him, then yeah, our
I'm loving
defense
that.
must all be sick on Saturday because that we should easily be able to stop that. Their top, they had so obviously you only played 5 passes, so they only had 5 receptions. Their main guy had 3 receptions for 32 yards. But
Who's
yeah,
their main? Oh, never mind. Sorry.
well, Dyke,
Oh, okay.
I've never heard of it. But yeah, going back to obviously Braylon Allen and Isaac, they both had over 100 yards rushing. So they had 278 rushing yards. Yeah, that's gonna
Oh
win you.
wow.
It's gonna win you a
Yeah.
lot of games.
No, yeah. That's the
So
key.
stop the run, make Graham Mertz throw the ball in a hostile environment against a good
Yeah.
defense. That's the recipe to win. You look at Maryland too, though. I mean, like Wisconsin must have had a really good defensive day as well because he only played 77 yards, 10 for 23, 77 yards, and he did play, by the way.
Okay.
But yeah, they couldn't do anything. I mean, they only had 189 total yards, so hopefully we can do a little better than that. They only had 9 first downs as well. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a low scoring affair. I just hope, we can start off hot and yeah. So let's get into, before we kind of end this podcast, I'm gonna share the screen again and we're gonna look at the college football playoff rankings. Came out again and some changes.
Yep.
Surprise at TCU finally cracked the top 4. Obviously Tennessee losing against Georgia, which that kind of surprised me, that how I know they ended up kind of scoring late, but that was like a blowout and I was kind of surprised by that. Kind of funny that Alabama's still like in the top 10. They just will not like
No.
they just they
refuse.
just, yep, they want
Which
them so bad.
I get it in a sense. Okay. And again, this is, you lose to Tennessee, who was going to be the number 1 team the week later. Then you lose to another top 10 team. They're both really good losses on the road. But like you said, the SEC bias, I mean, my God, like they can't put them, they can't not put them in their top 10.
What are your thoughts on LSU?
I don't know, dude. I mean, they're a weird team. Like it's they had I believe that they can win the SEC? No, I don't. I don't believe. Alabama always struggles. It's so weird. They just struggle with these QBs that, like, well, most teams run and pass, and that they got killed by like the read option and Jalen
Mhm.
Daniels from LSU. I mean, you saw that play. What was it, in overtime or right before overtime, whatever? And I think it was in overtime. He scampered for a touchdown, and then they got the 2-point conversion off of basically the same replicated play from Clemson in the national championship, where they
Yeah.
just run a pick play. So I think LSU's just they're riding high right now, but I don't trust them yet. I don't know. I don't trust them yet.
Yeah, no, and I like,
And they have 2 losses. They lost to Florida State on a neutral site.
yeah.
Like that's one of the
Well,
worst losses that you can
here's the
have.
thing. If they win out though, that means that they would win in the SEC championship game, because as right now, I think they are
Oh
they're
yeah.
number one. That they would make the playoffs, I think, if they would win out, which I don't. I mean, do I see them beating Georgia? Probably not. TCU, I feel like I mean, you had to put them at number 4. They're 9-0. I do think they're a little tad bit overrated. I think they play at Texas this week, so we're gonna see a lot this week. I mean, if they
Yeah,
lose,
I
then
mean,
yeah, they're done.
TCU has done what they're supposed to do up until this point,
Yeah.
right? If they come out and they lose to Texas, then yes, absolutely, you're going to drop them. But you have to reward teams for. I think you have to reward teams for for the
What
results
they're
on
Yeah.
results on the field. I mean, that's kind of like Iowa last year, right? Nobody thought they were the number 2 team in the country, and nobody thought that. But you're undefeated, and you
Yep.
have a good win against another top 3, whatever it was, 2, 3 team. So you just reward them in the now. So yeah.
You see here, like, at the bottom, like Kentucky 6-3.
Yeah. Just like
They
what?
Yeah, well, they just got their butts kicked against Tennessee 2 weeks ago, but it shows that, like, goddamn, Tyler, if we would have just somehow beat Illinois,
I
somehow
know.
beat Iowa State, we'd be 7-2 right now,
Yeah.
and we'd be ranked. We'd be kind of
We
somewhere where,
I was to say probably where
Illinois is,
Illinois, yeah.
and it's just so annoying because we were so close to
Yeah.
being way, because even if we would have beat Illinois, I mean, think about it. If we would have beat Illinois, which we should have won 9-6, I cannot believe that we lost that game. If our offense had any glimpse of being somewhat average that game or below average, we win that game. We would be the front runners to obviously make it to Indy again. And it's just annoying that, that it's
I
just
know.
very annoying. The fact that we still have, it shows how bad the Big Ten West is. The fact that
Oh,
we still have hope. I mean, there is still a
there's a
small
there's an
chance.
avenue of to
Yeah.
get there. The fact that it's still a possibility is
Yep.
crazy.
Obviously need Illinois to lose 2 more games, and we're gonna pull
Yeah.
their schedule up right here.
Yeah.
Versus Purdue. So we're gonna have to be big Purdue fans this week.
That's what I was going to say. Purdue, uh, hey, we kicked your ass last week. Now it's time to kind of get some payback, right?
Yep.
So hopefully, yeah, that's gonna be the decider, because
Because
if
they're
Purdue
not
can
losing
pull,
at
no,
Northwestern.
no, they're not losing to Northwestern. Um, it's crazy this week, Colin. I mean, it's huge implications, right? Not only for Iowa against Wisconsin, bowl eligibility, big win against Wisconsin, but like you said, now we're gonna need some help, and this is gonna be another big game. Yeah, for Purdue. I mean, they gotta hopefully bounce back and help us out a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Purdue,
Because they're
Michigan, they
not
lose
beating
both of those
Michigan.
games.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Um,
Northwestern, yeah, like you said, they're not going to lose that game. So
yeah. Yeah, it makes. I mean, we obviously have to win out, which is going to be tough to do because you got to
sure,
beat Wisconsin, you got to beat at Minnesota, beat Nebraska. They're 3 games that are, we
2 out of 3 at home,
yeah,
which is a positive. But like you said, these are all like the Minnesota, Nebraska. Like the Iowa State, right? It finally, that streak came to an end. Will it come to an end? We obviously we can't let that happen, right?
yeah,
If we want to be a bowl eligible, or if we want to be making it to the Big Ten West, give
yep.
ourselves any chance.
Um, I don't know if you've looked at the bit or the schedule for this week. I guess we're gonna be in Iowa City, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know if this week is even that good of a week in terms of college football. There's some of those weeks where it's just terrible. I guess TCU
Yeah,
Texas is a big game, which
yeah.
that
Big
wouldn't
noon
be
kickoff.
bad. Washington at Oregon. Could Mississippi State possibly, Georgia coming off such a big win, kind of a hangover game, maybe on the road? I mean, I don't know. I could see something like that happening, but who knows? Iowa State plays at Oklahoma State. I think Iowa State might win that game. I don't think Oklahoma State's very good.
No, they're trending downward.
Yeah. I could see Iowa State walking in there and winning. And speaking of Iowa State, they finally got it just like Iowa, finally
Yeah.
starting to maybe figure some things out. They
Yep.
ruled West Virginia, and similar to Iowa, they're wanting to make a bowl game. And I'm going to click on them here in a little bit. Alabama at Ole Miss, man, that would have been a big game if Alabama would have won last week.
Yep.
God, will Alabama lose 2 in a row? Could happen. But
Alabama's not I mean, they're obviously very good, but like when you talk about the upper echelon of teams right now, like they have not played like what they are accustomed to playing.
Yeah.
They're not very as good as years past. They don't have as good of a team this year, for sure.
So Iowa State has Oklahoma State on the schedule, TCU left, which like that's another game where like I could see like Iowa State just like winning possibly, and then they got Texas Tech. But what are they right now? They're 4-5. So they would have to essentially win 2 more games, 2 out of the next 3, which very well could happen. Or no, they would just have to win 2 more.
Yeah, 2 more.
They'd have to win 2 more games. Yeah. Which, I mean, if they take care of business. If they lose this week in Oklahoma State, I think it's going to be pretty tough for them to make it to bowl game, because that means they would have to win out against Texas Tech, who's not a bad team, and then at TCU. They'd have to win out those. So like if they lose this weekend, which once again, this weekend, very manageable game. A couple weeks ago, you would say, wow, that's such a tough game. They're not going to win that. But looking at Oklahoma State as of late, man, like they're not very, I mean, they got their butts kicked against Kansas State, and then they got their butts kicked against Kansas. Is someone hurt for them? I guess I'm not following how they go from,
I don't know,
somewhat decent. I mean, frick, they won their
thought Spencer Sanders might have been injured, quarterback. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's just like one of those things where it's like, what? Okay. Because like they started 5-0, and then they almost beat TCU, and then they beat Texas, and then now they just went completely downhill. So who knows? But yeah, this weekend, really, I'm kind of glad we do have a home game, because it's really not that great. So
no, it'll be definitely more. I mean, not more enjoyable, but it'll definitely be nice knowing that I'm not really missing a whole lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, I love that.
Real quick before we end the show, just very brief. Iowa basketball. You guys probably know by now, I'm really excited for this year. I'm sure you are too, Tyler. Got the win 89-58 the other night against Bethune Cookman.
The Wildcat.
It's just funny playing some of these teams, because it's like I have no idea. It's hilarious that their head coach is also the athletic director. It's like,
wait, what?
Yeah, he's the athletic director. Which you just that's like high school level stuff.
Right.
But another good performance by T. Perk. Excited for him. He led the way with 16 points. He was 2 for 2 from the 3-point line. I said in that expedition game, man, if T. Perk can develop a 3-point shot for us, that's huge, because like that's something that like, we already know what he's good at, like driving and dishing and driving to the rim. But if he can be a threat on the outside, same with like Connor McCaffrey. I mean, 2 for 3. So I'm loving it. We really, though, looking at this, and in the second half, we were taking some just random ass 3-point shots. We finished 11-33, which really 33% isn't bad, but it's not great. Josh Dix, who I think will be all right for this year. He's a freshman. He was 0 for 5. Hopefully that doesn't. You got to make at least one of those. If you're a 3-point shooter, you should make at least one of those 5, right? But
first game jitters.
Yeah,
we'll chalk it up as that.
But the thing is he looked pretty good in that expedition. So But yeah, I think other than that, though, I guess I don't really have anything to really complain about. Aaron Eulis didn't really do much for us. I mean, that's one guy that I'm really kind of like, I should say I'm high on, but I have a lot of like kind of expectations that he takes that next step. And he honestly, like Sante Bowen looked better than he did. He finished with
something about Eulis just doesn't. I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel like
the one thing I will say, though, is he provided that energy. I mean, he played good defense, but Bowen, though, played less minutes. He had 6 points. He had 4 assists.
Yeah.
That's good. 2 steals. So it's one of those things where
Well,
Bowen
yeah, if
might
he's
play
not,
more than
if
him.
Ulis isn't going to play well, like in Bowen, and yeah, he's going to take his minutes.
And the thing about me, I've always said, I think the more guys you have in rotation is the worse in basketball. You kind of want to be at like, I've always said like 8 to 9 guys, 9 guys,
Yeah.
9-man rotation. You get too many, it just becomes where it's like you have too many guys and you're not getting the rhythm.
Well, I
And
was gonna say
so,
people almost think it's like better because you have more guys to play and give other guys breaks, but it's also like that means like maybe your starting five isn't as good as what they should be,
yeah.
right?
And so
So
the backups, and if, I mean, you're talking, Mulvey, which I don't think he'll. So, okay, I'm not going to include Mulvey because I just don't think he's going to play much. You have Ogundele, Bowen, Dix, Ulis, and McCaffrey. Well, I mean, that's 5 guys right there. So, I mean, there's going to be one of those guys isn't going to play. And it might be Ogundele, I think. But, hell, we
yeah,
might need him, though. Come Big Ten play, we might need that, 10
it'll
minutes a
probably be a
game.
matchup thing, Colin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where he comes
you
in and
have to.
has to.
Yeah,
Problem, though, with Ogundele is, man, I know you said you didn't watch the second half. He was getting
I
he was
didn't.
getting tired like immediately, and it's like,
Well,
God, how is he not conditioned? I don't get it. But
right.
if he can, once again though, because there's gonna be games where like Rabracha gets in foul trouble, or just matchup wise just isn't a good matchup. Like think about like against Purdue when we're going up against whatever that guy's name is, 7'4".
Yeah.
You're gonna need a guy like Ogundele to come in. So if he can provide that, 10 minutes a game, contribute on the defensive side. He's not going to provide much on the offense side. I mean, that's a given, but
No.
yeah. So I'm just
How'd
gonna
we
look
do
at
in
this.
rebounding? I was gonna look at
Oh,
team.
rebounding.
Well,
I'm
I
gonna
know
go
that's
team
kind of
stats
our
actually.
concern, right?
So we had 44, but once again, like look at like they had 10 offensive rebounds. That's not where you
Yeah.
want to be at, but I guess I don't know. It's good to
Okay.
see
No, I
steals,
just
10.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we only held. I mean, the defense. I've said, we already know it's kind of like with Iowa football with the defense.
Right.
There's always going to
The
be that
opposite.
one game where, like, offensively, we're not going to show up. So we got to rely on the defense. And so I really want to see us play good defense. And I think this year, with our, being a little bit more athletic, we should be better on defense. And I thought against Truman State, or Expedition game, we didn't play that good of defense. I mean, we gave up like 70 some points. This game played much better, which was definitely good to see. All right, schedule wise, before we wrap up this episode, let's see here. We got one more kind of easy game, kind of a get right, or I shouldn't say get right because we won on Monday, but like just like one more game to just
Kind of a warm-up game.
warm up game. And then next Wednesday, tough game at Seton Hall. I don't really know much about Seton Hall. I know in years past, they've always been like a decent Big East team.
They're always a tough Big East team, right?
Yeah.
That seems to like make the tournament and like cause problems.
Yep. They play tonight actually on FS1. Maybe when we're playing Call of Duty later tonight, I'll have that game on the other TV and I can scout them a little bit. But yeah, then we play at Seton Hall. Then we play Omaha, which I think Omaha, they actually played Kansas pretty tough. I remember seeing that the other night. I know it ended up being 89-64, but I think at halftime, I want to say, I'm going to go to that game. Halftime it was 46-33. So they actually played Kansas pretty tough. So we got that. And then, yeah, it gets pretty tough. Clemson.
I mean, yeah, you got a freaking ACC freaking slate of Clemson, Georgia Tech, Duke,
Iowa State, Wisconsin.
That's going to be tough. That's a tough stretch.
It's not showing you this, but so on Friday, November 25th, we play Clemson. Well, that's like not like really a tournament, but it is a tournament. Right. If we win, or regardless if we win or lose, we play on Saturday, and we play either TCU or which they're
who's like really good this year. Yeah.
We play TCU or what's the other team?
I think we've said this in the last column. We're gonna find out how really good Iowa is very quickly.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna find out how good this team actually is.
And the thing is so wait, okay, we play either Cal or TCU then on that Saturday, depending on if we win or lose or whatever. Now, and that's the thing though, Tyler. Like, yeah, we're not going to win all these games, but if we can, like, in this stretch of Seton Hall, Clemson, TCU or Cal, Georgia Tech, Duke, Iowa State, Wisconsin, yeah, I mean, if we we're not going to win all those games. It's just not going to happen. In basketball, you're going to lose a couple, and hopefully it is only a couple. Hopefully,
No,
for
you got
the
to keep
most
your head
part.
above water in these
Yep.
games, right?
Yeah.
Just find a way to win a couple, to kind of maybe get 500 or a little bit better through that. And yeah, like you said, do I expect Iowa's going to beat Duke? No, I don't. Do I expect Iowa is going to be? I don't even know. I think Seton Hall is just like they're just known for like tough defense. So like I have no idea, but no, it'll be good. It'll be good to see early on. Like this non-conference is kind of crazy, Colin. It really
It
is.
is. It really is. This is the thing I made like a month ago, kind of what I project. And so I had us losing actually at Seton Hall. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I think the way, I know it's only been 2 games, but the way we've been playing, like I would imagine that we could go on the road and beat them. But I just had that as a loss first game of the season.
Yeah.
And then I have us actually beating Clemson because I did some research on some of these games. Like Clemson, Georgia Tech they're not on the upper of the ACC. They're more either middle or bottom. I think Georgia Tech was actually projected to finish like last in the ACC. So like we should win that game. Like we should beat Clemson. I know I don't have Cal or TCU up here because I didn't realize that we played again on Saturday. I have us losing to Duke, but then coming back against Iowa State and Wisconsin. So yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. Hopefully I'm wrong for the Seton Hall because I really do think that should be a win. I know it's on the road, but we should win that game. But all right, well, that'll do
dude.
it.
I mean, hey, just real quick. I mean, hey, basketball season's upon us. Like we keep mentioning, it's like we've got so much to look forward to come this winter, and it seems like the football season's slowly but surely wrapping up here, but we still got a huge game this weekend. Iowa basketball. It's just great time.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited.
I love this time. I love
Friday
winter,
night. I have BTN Plus, so Iowa basketball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's like those are the week or like those are the times where I wish I lived in like Iowa City because like Friday night I would go to the Iowa basketball game because it's probably like $10 for a ticket, and then the next day go to the Iowa football game. Like it's like those are the days where I'm like, God, I wish I lived in Iowa City because I could do that. And even Iowa women's basketball is gonna be fun to watch.
Hey, I only live an hour and 15 away. I could do that.
I mean, I'm gonna be in Des Moines, but the problem is like, okay, where are we gonna stay at though?
I know.
That's the only thing that sucks.
That's all I know. It sucks.
Wish we knew someone that like, well, we could stay with Bruno.
Just tell Mox to rent an Airbnb
Let's just stay with Bruno.
Shout out Bruno. Eric Bruning. Will be if you're watching.
I wonder if he'll still be mad at me for not going to the Iowa or the last game probably. So.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get a bunch of shit this weekend for the tailgate that we didn't show up to the Northwestern game, but it is what it is.
We're not fair weather fans. I
agree.
We were very annoyed by the way our offense was playing. Rightfully so. For me, it wasn't worth the 10 hours of driving. 5 hours there, 5 hours back. Just wasn't worth it. So, all right, man. Well, that'll do it for this episode.
All right. We'll see you in about a half hour.
Yeah. No kidding. Play some
Call
of Duty.
Yep. All right.
But I'll see you in person in about 3 days. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Big game. Big game. So, gotta get this dub.
For sure. All right. Thank you guys all for listening, and go Hawks.